the local dailies. Tanzania massacre is a big headline on the front page of the Standard. They call it unbridled power. If Mwalimu Julius Nyerere were to return to the nation he built on the ideals of African unity, he would be horrified. As Tanzania's first female president fought to secure her own mandate, blood flowed across the land. Cut off from the world during and after polling, Tanzanians endured what rights groups now describe as a bloodbath that was hidden behind an official blackout but laid bare through reports shared with their Kenyan counterparts. This is what has been given prominence on 4 pages of the Standard today, pages 4, 5, 6 and 7. And many people are wondering if at all they're very genuine and the government in Tanzania was only trying to contain, to ensure that the elections do happen and happen without much problem. Why is the internet still off? Yes? Why is the internet still down in Tanzania 5-6 days after election day, after the winner has been announced? Why is the internet still down? Ni nini munaficha? Yes. So what the Standard has done, and this is very rare for any paper I've seen in this region, very disturbing photos. Some of them, I think, are of dead bodies on the front page. This is unprecedented. I do not think I've seen this kind of graphic images on the front page of dailies, even here in Kenya, in a very long time, if at all. Not in recent history. So let's take a look at the different angles. Tanzanian polls, AU commission accused of uploading carnage, and the AU chairman, huyu mwenye alichukua kazi mapema hii mwaka. He was very fast. He was among the very first people to congratulate Samia Suluhu Hassan. Watu wamesema wewe shuali.
Ni wao.
How fast can you be in congratulating? Raila amepata 98%. Out of 272, unasema 270 MPs ni one party. Na unakimbia kucongratulate. Mtu temper your excitement. Unatulia kidogo. Karua Kibwana dismissed Suluhu election as a sham. The Kenyan politicians who voiced their concern about what's happening in Tanzania. An opinion here by Biketi Kikechi and Sema Tanzania hit by more protest deaths and riots. Jewel of Swahili poetry tested as Suluhu's leadership exposes ungwana hypocrisy. And you know life has changed now in Tanzania completely. Ile Maringo alikuwa anasema Tanzania sisi, jamaa sisi, hizo tabia zenyu mbaya mbaya za Kenya nini?
Viumbe vya ajabu.
Sasa they will not be able to tell us this again. Everything has changed in Tanzania. All right. The other story, yes, about the mudslides and landslides, and probably if at all it wasn't for the elections in Tanzania, this is what should have been on the front pages here. Mudslides rekindled memories of tragedies that have rocked Elgeyo, and an aerial view of the mudslides that rocked Chesongoch area in Marakwet East, Elgeyo Marakwet County on Saturday. Yes. So far 200 families have been displaced and 26 people have been reported dead. But they say that no candidate will miss the exam in Elgeyo Marakwet. This is according to the CS of Education, Ogamba, CS Julius Ogamba. Let's hope that it will happen. All right. Other big stories, of course, what's happening in ODM. Na hiyo ataendelea kuzungumzia. On the back page of this paper, no one does it better than Kenyan athletes. And these are Kenyan Hellen Obiri, Sharon Lokedi, and Sheila Chepkirui, celebrating after taking the top 3 spots in the New York Marathon yesterday. Congratulations to Hellen Obiri, Sharon Lokedi, and Sheila Chepkirui. A podium finish for Kenya there. And it also happened in the men's elite result. Benson Kipruto, Alexander Mutiso, and Albert Korir. Hao ndio walichukua number 1, 2, 3. Nani kama wa Kenya. No one does it better than Kenyan athletes. Indeed, congratulations to our athletes. And that's the Standard this Monday morning.
All right, let's take a look at the Star. Tanzania unrest cuts food supplies to Kenya and disrupts trade, and fruits and vegetable stocks run out over insecurity. Boda imefungwa, now there's no trade that can go on here. They say anxiety as Tanzanian rice cuts food supplies to Kenya and disrupts trade as well. And the closure of Dar es Salaam port and border post will definitely impact the region's supply chains with delayed deliveries and vessels. They make mention of a price hike here. They say Kenyan traders import tomatoes from Tanzania to capitalize on low prices linked to cheaper farm inputs and absence of VAT on seeds. Now, that will not be possible because of what is happening in Tanzania.
What many Kenyans never realize is that, especially when it comes to food, we really depend on our neighbors, Tanzania and Uganda to a very huge extent. Tanzania especially, a lot of the onions that we eat here come from across the border. A lot of the foods, as they said, it's much cheaper in Tanzania. So sisi tumezoea tuna-export maua, tuna-export kahawa, tuna-export chai, lakini chakula huwa tu-export sana. In fact, we are not importers of food. This is very sad. But you can imagine now, the border points Namanga, I almost said Malaba, Namanga, pale kuna shida. So tutasikia njaa.
President on extensive development tour of Western region. He's been there last week for the better part of it. Yesterday he was in Vihiga County, and here they say President William Ruto and Archbishop Reverend John Shabuga cutting a cake during service at African Divine Church in Gamalenga, Vihiga County. ODM plays a hardball, complicates President Ruto's 2027 game plan. I think they make mention of, was it that exclusive interview?
Yeah, now that was a separate, and we'll come to that.
That's a different one.
Yes, now when the ODM officials were going to Magarini to campaign, now they've insisted, Sisi, as we go to Magarini, we are going as ODM. Hakuna candidate wa broad-based. And the SG for ODM alikuwa anasema, okay, fine. Hata ukiambia watu candidate wa broad-based, what color is a broad-based party? What symbol do they use? There's nothing that exists. Alisema kuna wale voters anakuja tu hivi kwa polling station anasema mimi nataka chungwa, ama mimi nataka ile ama mimi nataka wheelbarrow. So what is a party symbol for broad base? So akasema pana, sisi tunaenda kama chungwa. Hii imeleta tumbo joto. Watu wamekasirika. Wale wanavanga t-shirt za yellow wamekasirika sana.
All right, surgeons remove infected lung in milestone procedure. Amazing. Another story is an interview. A man behind over 83 billion shillings private capital drive for SMEs in Kenya. That's the Star. Grab a copy today at 60 Kenyan shillings, fresh, independent and different. Tanzanians now wataweza kumpata kweli. In Tanzania it's 1,000 shillings.
Now we can't even cross the border. Hiyo mambo unasema ya ODM na hiyo exclusive interview is what features here on the front page of Taifa Leo. Wanasema sharti kali la ODM kwa Ruto. Kaimu kiongozi wa ODM Daktari Oburu Odinga amesema kuwa chama hicho hakitakubali wadhifa wowote chini ya naibu wa rais kwenye uchaguzi wa 2027. So Kindiki mali huko saa hii anajua kama wanasema broad based ndio inaenda, kazi yake imeishia hapo. He should start counting down how many months? 20
to election.
20 months to election. 20 or even 19. Wanasema kwenye mahojiano na Taifa Leo, Daktari Odinga amesema kuwa ODM itajiandaa vyema kwa uchaguzi wa 2027 na haitakubali kuwa kwenye upinzani kwa vyovyote vile. Habari kamili kwenye ukurasa wa pili. And if at all they peg their support to the William Ruto administration on them getting the DP slot, then the president really has to redo his mathematics. Because what else would he promise? Because they were hoping to woo, let's say, areas like Ukambani through Kalonzo Musyoka. Then what would they offer Kalonzo Musyoka? What would they offer any candidate from the Western Kenya region if at all the DP slot is taken away automatically by ODM party? All right, very interesting. Although they could pick a Western Kenya candidate as DP, but from ODM. Yeah, interesting. Nasema ODM yaweka wazi nia ya kuwa ndani ya serikali na kutokubali kiti kilicho chini ya naibu rais. Vidokezo zaidi kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili wanasema serikali yasema haina pesa kulipa wahadhiri as lecturers who have remained on strike. Wanavyo kuzidi kuumia baada ya serikali kutangaza rasmi haiwezi kulipa wahadhiri bilioni 7.9 mara moja. Kwingineko, Kalonzo na Gachagua wajigamba kuwa na kura milioni 12. Vinara hao wa Wiper na DCP wadai wanaweza kupata kura 12 milioni kutoka kwa ngome zao. na walioaga katika maporomoko ya timu 26. Tumekuwa tukizungumzia hayo kule Elgeyo Marakwet. Pale juu mipango yawekwa kukabili ajali baharini. Ni idara ya polisi wa ulinzi majini waweka mikakati ya kuzima mikasa ya vifo vya maeneo ya pwani. Kwenye spoti, Liverpool yafufuka, Arsenal nayo yazidi kupaa. The Reds walaza Villa baada ya kupoteza mechi 4 na Arsenal wanyoa Burnley. Nasema clean sheets. Saa hii bao ni 3 tu tangu season ianze. Nani kama Arsenal?
Taifa Leo. All right, let's take a look at the Daily Nation. Oburu, it's DP or nothing. This is an exclusive interview. Bombshell, ODM interim leader Oburu Oginga has drawn a bold red line in Kenya's post-Raila Odinga politics, declaring that the party will not settle for anything less than the deputy president's seat in 2027. For both President William Ruto and the united opposition, this proposition comes with some tough and consequential political arithmetic. Now, that question about Kalonzo Musyoka, he said that Kalonzo brings a strong bloc to the table, but they cannot support him if he's not in their formation, that is, in a formation with the ODM party. He made mention of some members of the, what is it called, united opposition. This one from Martha Karua. He said Martha is tough, rigid, but she can be dictatorial if given a chance.
She can be.
Anaweza fanya mambo ya
watu wanaogopa mama. Wanaogopa kina mama sasa, lakini tujasema anaweza kuwa kama
huyu ni Oginga. Evidence kakalatas is here.
There's a very interesting story he gave, and there it's there on that page. Is it page 9?
Page 5.
Yeah, page 5.
About what?
About the last call he had with his brother,
okay.
The late Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Because there's a lot of discussion about what happened the last few days before Raila Odinga passed on. And I've seen them questioning, especially online, that these people seem to be giving conflicting details about what happened. And whatever he said yesterday, and it's captured there on that story, may actually conflict with other stories given by other people who claim that they were there or talked to the former Prime Minister. So who's telling the truth?
Oburu amesema yeye hakuwa hapo. They just talked on phone.
Yes.
Devastation as landslide death toll climbs to 26, and the number of people who are reported are still missing is 25. Tanzanian elections, Chadema rejects poll results as Ruto's silence on vote questioned. Now they say Chadema terms the results announced by Tanzania's Independent National Electoral Commission completely fabricated, as Kenyan opposition politicians question the silence of President William Ruto, who is the chairman of the East African Community. At
least he's not been quick to jump and congratulate her. You know, that's what happens when you're, especially your neighbor, and I win elections. The first thing is kusema, we as Kenya congratulate you. At least President Ruto has not been quick to congratulate Samia Suluhu Hassan. On the back, the AU chairperson amekimbia.
Well, the EAC chairman is still quiet. Very nice. Obiri Kipruto lead clean sweep of titles in New York. Kipchoge wins up 17th in men's competition. In a show of dominance, Kenyan men and women win all medals on offer in final major marathon race. Millionaires, these ones. That's the Daily Nation.
People Daily matters Raila succession, a showdown, Ruto, ODM and the shadow of ethnic politics. That's a story on page 4. They say the senior party figures who once operated in Raila's shadow are now stepping forward, each weighing their strength and appeal. And for decades, Raila was more than an opposition leader. He was a symbol of defiance and hope, a rallying force for millions who believed in a different Kenya. His absence has created uncertainty. And with the clock ticking towards the 2027 general election, politicians have little time to mourn, especially now with the by-elections. Because hapo nafikiri ndio watu wanadraw ile, wamethrow ile gauntlet, wanasema sasa vuka hapa, vuka hii laini uone, kama sitakuchapa. Pale chini, Uhuru's power play resets Mount Kenya dynamics as Gachagua battles for survival is another story there. But interesting, ile picha wametumia ile yenye rais anauza, unapiga kelele kwa nini? Kwa nini unapiga kelele? Hapana. Alafu a very defiant SG of ODM, so mimi ndio Sifuna ule wa ODM. na nimesema chama hichi hamutatutisha. People Daily.
Finally, Business Daily. Spring Valley, Upper Hill, top city suburbs, land price gains. And land prices in Spring Valley and Upper Hill grew at the fastest pace last year compared to other high-end Nairobi estates amid a shift in investor appetite towards residential and mixed-use property. Latest survey report by real estate firm has Consult for the third quarter of the year shows that the price of an acre of land in Spring Valley shot up 13.3% over the last 12 months to an average of 305.9 million shillings. I think ni juzi kwa karibu na town sana.
An acre.
Kenya remains undecided on new IMF deal. Champions are also here on the front page of the Business Daily. Kenyans rule New York City. This is Helen Obiri, Sheila Chepkurui, and Sharon Lokedi. On the ticker, banks defy digital trend with sustained branch expansion. Old Mutual deal-ups, health insurance stakes, and 17 counties fail to attract big investments. That's the Business Daily.
Big headlines this morning. We'll be looking at them with this panel. Kipruto Rapkirwa, who served as Minister for Agriculture in the Kibaki-1 administration, Kathy Rungu, governance analyst, and Wakili Kibe Mungai. They will be in studio in a few minutes' time to help us take a look at the big headlines. Of course, the big discussions, what's happening in Tanzania, and locally, politics with the ODM appearing to change tune, or are they doing that? Being a Monday,